Hi everyone, welcome to Innkeep Development Diary number 13. Lucky 13. Alright, I've got a few cool things to show you today. Let's just go through one at a time, starting with, let's see, railings. If you have watched my previous videos, then you'll notice that we now have something that used to exist in the prototype that's come back, which are railings. So all the way along these walkways here, you'll see that there is this kind of extra sprite that's kind of covering over the player here. These have been done so that they look like they're extensions of the posts which come up from here. So the only reason I was able to do that is because everything now is starting to come together on that pixel perfect kind of level. So pretty happy with how they turned out. They look nice, as you can see as I move along that they're all drawing properly. Everything's working nice. Just show it off here as I go behind. That's one. Alright, feature number 2, you just saw a glimpse of it just then, is a new kind of way for doing cutaways. So previously I was experimenting with fading for when you're standing underneath the walkway here, and now I've decided to go with something a little bit more drastic. It isn't the final look right now because what's missing, of course, is shadow. So there will be shadow here and that will be covering over the player. So that will help maintain the look of there being geometry here even when it cuts away like this. So right now it's a little bit unfinished, but still you're getting a sense that it's very clear. You can see everything very nicely. One of the reasons I'm going with this look is connected with the bedrooms again. So if I open up this door now and go through, you can see that the way I'm doing the cutaway for the bedrooms has changed. So this part of the wall there, instead of kind of fading away, it's now showing off the geometry like a kind of cross section. Just by comparison, I'll show you what it used to look like, what the old system is, because this is something I'm in the process of doing. And no, it looks fine. It's not terrible, but it had a few problems. One is that the main sprite that's getting faded out looks kind of flat, so there is no geometry maintained, and because of that, it's hard really to get the sense that you're looking through the wall. It could just as well be that this sprite is being drawn on top of the wall as that it is behind it. Apart from the perspective, there's nothing else that really gives you that strong impression. So what I like about this system is that it does really look like you're looking through the wall there. It's slicing it really nicely, and it just gives you this cool little detailing, everything like that, which I really like. Another thing you might have noticed is that I'm starting to work on improving the bedrooms, doing a second pass, getting them visually up to scratch. So, for example, the look of the windows, the seams where the wall meets the floor, all of that's all getting kind of fixed up. And I'll be doing that now for all of the other 11 bedrooms. So it's a big job, and that's going to take me a few weeks, but I'm going to go through and have all of those done. One last thing to keep in mind with bedrooms is that the time of day is going to have an effect on how it all looks. So, for example, you can see the highlighting here. So this is kind of daytime, and I still need to add, various effects that are going to be here in the morning or during the early afternoon. And then in the evening, it's going to look different again as far as what kind of highlights are being drawn. So that's something that's going to come in future updates, though. All right. So we've got walkways. We've got new fading here for this walkway. So we have railings, new failing for walkway, new cutaway system for these walls, upgraded example of upgraded bedroom, what it's looking like. Another thing which you've probably noticed is that I now have an inventory UI. Let's just get over to the center here to show this off. So this is pretty neat. The idea is that previously what I wanted to do, and this still remains the case, is I didn't want the player to be managing a giant inventory full of different items like they're running around with them all in their backpack, because the player never really leaves the inn. In fact, they'll never leave the inn, I've decided. I've kind of mentioned that on Twitter, but you're never going to actually leave this building in the game. And it didn't make a lot of sense to me that you're hauling around all your inventory in a backpack or something like this. But you do have things that you're holding directly at that time for the purposes of interaction with the environment. So that's what each of these buttons kind of represents. Each one of these buttons, so you can kind of see when I mouse over, they highlight. When I click on them, they kind of pop out a bit. So each one of these buttons is like a hand slot, and you can grab stuff. So if I was to come over here where you've got your tankards, I can grab a tankard. So you can kind of see that's this one here. And then previously that would be it. You could only have one item at a time. Now you can have multiple items. So if I go down, I can grab another one, go down, grab another one, and just keep filling up to a total of 6 items. So, you know, a little bit more than is necessarily realistic. Although some people can carry 6, 6 tankards at once. I think they have competitions for this in Germany. But it gives you enough freedom that in the middle of the hustle and bustle of serving your customers, you don't have to be back, forth, back, forth, back, forth. You might want to load up on a few drinks. You get 1 drink of mead, 1 drink of wine, and then maybe you're going to go and get a drink of ale as well. And then you can go and serve your customers. You know, maybe you're doing other stuff and you just drop something and then come back to it. So you can see there that each of these drinks has its own unique icon, but also the cursor as well now changes to reflect which icon it is. So you can see that for every drink type, it has its unique cursor. Finally, at the bottom, you've got this guest book here. So it has this nice little, let me just scroll down, has this nice little opening animation that's running a little bit slow because of the recording software, but it's quite nice. What this one is it's an extension of this UI, and it's one more item basically in a sense, but unlike the other ones, you cannot put it down. It's permanently something that you're holding. Previously I had a little book down here next to the candle, and this is where you access your guest book. Now it's something that you're constantly holding. And again, you can see the character. Whatever the character is holding in their hand is represented in the player sprite, so in this case it's the book. And this book is going to be used for assigning guests to bedrooms and for doing a bit of inn management, so upgrading the rooms of the inn, taking care of all of that kind of management side of stuff. The way you access it in general is you just click on yourself and it kind of pops up like this, and there'll be information here you can kind of do things. Click away and then it zips down again, so there we go. But if a guest was in the tavern, you could go over to that specific guest, click on them with the book, it'll open up, and then you can see the page that's relevant for that guest. So it is a little bit of work in that you got to click on the book and then click on a person. It's 2 clicks, but I think it's not going to be much quicker if you had any other system. You'd still have to kind of navigate through to see specific guests, and this way you maintain that feeling that you're interacting with the world directly through the objects that you're kind of holding as the player. And I'm minimizing this feeling of being a management sim, which is not really what the game's about. So as much as possible, I don't want to clutter up the game with UI that's kind of abstract. I want everything to be very concrete, as though you are the innkeeper and these are the items you're using to manage your inn. You can kind of see how each item kind of pops out a bit as it gets bigger, which is nice. And I'll just show you one more feature here before we wrap it up. Nice and short today, is you can now use the fireplace again. So the functionality of this was turned off when I did the new fireplace. So this is old prototype functionality. You can see here that the wood, now I don't have a unique cursor sprite for that yet, that's got to be done, but now the wood is also incorporated into this new inventory UI. And then I can light the fire. So you can see a few things happening here, and this again is not 100% finished, but it gives you a kind of an idea of what I'm going for. So there's a little flame sprite there, and it's a little bit transparent. That's flickering away. There's some light here, some glowing effects happening, and then that's going to be kind of cast out onto the ground here. And then as you get more pieces of wood, the fire is going to slowly get a bit stronger. And there seems like some kind of bug there, but there we go. I think if I'm standing too close. That's interesting. That's from before. So the glow here, is a bit too strong, and then if the player is standing somewhere like here, then they should be backlit. So the light should be around the silhouette of the character rather than covering over them. So there's a few things there with shading and stuff I'm going to have to improve down the road. But basically it's functional. So that's great. So I have got this new UI here for the inventory. I have got a functioning fireplace. I've got railing for the walkways. I have this new kind of fading system here for the walkway, and also the cutaway for the bedrooms, and I've started work on upgrading the sprites for the bedrooms. So quite a bit just take a minute before I finish here to kind of talk about the upcoming few weeks. So progress is going to slow down a little bit as I have to turn back to a few other things, my day job and a few other things I'm doing. But I'll be working on getting all of the bedrooms in the inn up to this same kind of level of quality that you see here, with the same kind of cutting away and fading and all the rest of it. I shall be working on a bit more of the UI, so the kind of time of day, I'm going to have something up the top which is going to show the transitioning of time. I'm going to shift away from this candle, I think, and have something that just counts down time from morning till late at night. The UI here for money, so basically UI work a bit, and I'm also going to jump in and do a bit more work maybe with the camera, with shaders, with a few other kind of just nice little touches here and there before I move on, I think, to actually getting guests coming in again, sitting down, using bedrooms, being assigned to rooms, serving, this kind of stuff. So we're going to start shifting towards adding brand new features pretty soon, which is really cool. Alright, nice quick one today, I think. Thanks for listening as always, and I'll see you next time.